Hello. I'm wearing somebody new, if I can get this to go back far enough. Like my necklace? Yes, it's alive. This is Synjen. I got some Christmas money from my aunt and uncle in Wisconsin. And this is just the weirdest story. I was at the at Bridges Pets about a week ago, and one of the pet shop people there, I'm kind of friends with him. He had his pet boa constrictor, this really beautiful gold colored snake with kind of cloudy patches, white cloudy patches. And he let me hold her. She was pretty big. She wasn't as big as this guy. This was, trying to think, Frederick. They had two snakes at Bridges. They have one named Anna, who's a female red-tailed Columbian Red Tailed Boa. Oops. And then there's Frederick, who is a Columbian Red Tailed Boa, also male, full-grown male. He's from a subgroup apparently that where they're not quite as big, but he's probably about 6 feet long, 5 feet to 6 feet long. It's the first time I've had him out since I got him home. Anyway, I jokingly said after I held his pet snake, "Oh, I'll take that one over there." And he's like, "Really?" Because he's used to me. I have gotten almost all my lizards at Bridges, so he's kind of used to me. I got my second iguana was a rather large, well, Rocky, the red iguana, who was kind of big when I got her. So we talked about the needs of boa constrictors for a while, and then I went home and thought about it. And it's like once I get these ideas in my head, they live to be 20 to 25 in captivity, sometimes less, but I mean, you kind of have to expect more than less. And, you know, I'm kind of getting up there, so I was taking that into account, the fact that if I got a baby boa, which would make a lot more sense, it would likely or possibly outlive me. Of course, you can never really expect or count on how many years you're going to live. I could die next week, you know, but assuming that I get to live a normal lifespan, I probably have another 20 years in me. But if I get a baby boa constrictor, the chances of it outliving me are greater. So, and besides that, baby boa constrictors, if you include the shipping cost about the same as this guy here, who's about 5 or 6 years old. So long story short, 2 days ago, and then I had my money from my aunt, and she was like, you know, it's whatever I want to do with it. It was really sweet of her to send, and so anyway, I decided I was going to either go back there and get this guy, or I was going to get a corn snake, which they can also get to be, from what I understand, 20 years old. But they don't grow as big. They can be as big as 5 feet, but they don't grow as thick. Okay, so I went back there and I asked if I could hold Frederick here. So I did, and that was kind of the end of the story. I held him, I liked him. They said I could have a week to try him out. They're going to leave his cage as it is at the pet store in case I need to bring him back. There'll be a place for him, so I have a week to test drive the snake. But so far he's great. What I had to do was, he is sitting so still. I'm absolutely amazed at this. See if I can lower the camera so you can see him. There's his head. Right there, I don't want to bite me. Okay. Yes, boa constrictors can bite. They have very small teeth, so it's more scary. The strike is more scary than the actual bite, but still, you don't really want them. So far, he's been really good. He hasn't been held a lot, so he's kind of skittish, but I want to get him used to being handled a lot because I intend to hold him a lot. His name was Frederick at the pet store. Before that, his name was Mr. Slither. Don't like Mr. Slither. Gee, wonder why. And he hadn't been held very much at all before the pet store. I have named him Synjen. And I believe Synjen is spelled Saint John, S-T and then the name John. But I don't want to spell his name that way because everyone's going to mispronounce his name and call him Saint John. So I'm spelling it S-Y-N-J-E-N, Synjen. Because I think that's a cool name for a snake. Anyway, so I took the big aviary where I had quite a few birds in that. I had to rearrange my birds. Rocky is still in the same cage. I took the birds out of, I have another cage exactly the same size as Rocky's, and I took the birds out of that, and now Gizmo has the same size cage as Rocky. Those are my two iguanas. So Gizmo has a lot more space. Rocky has the same cage, but I put new stuff in her cage, so she has new toys to climb on. I had some big branches in my walk-in closet that I was using for the two lizards to climb on, but they hardly ever got out to climb on that stuff because every time I'd let one out, it would go to the other's cage and try to attack it through the bars. So I got out my saw and I sawed these big, they're just segments of tree. I sawed them up, and now they're in this guy's cage inside the big aviary, and I had to put a wood floor on the base of the big aviary so it's not wire mesh anymore. Kind of also makes it harder for this guy to escape. So that's it. This is my new addition, probably the last cold-blooded animal I will have. I don't think you can get much better than this guy. He's a very pretty boy. I don't know why they call him Red Tail. I see nothing red about him. He's pretty much gray with brown markings. And he's being very still, like he enjoys this maybe. I don't know. I'm warm. So he probably appreciates that. He hasn't tried to come around my throat, which is a nice thing. The guy at the pet store told me if they do, you just pull down, or if it gets really tight, you can moisten your hands and slide it and pull down. He said the snake is really not strong enough to do much. He wouldn't be able to kill a human being. You have to be a pretty big snake to kill a human being, unless it's a little child. Things that I've learned about boas, just reading. Oh, he's starting to explore my desk. Just reading is, here, babe, you want to see the camera? There he is. You need a cage that's long enough that they can stretch out in. So, that was the aviary. The aviary is certainly a big enough enclosure for him. And what else did I read? Oh, okay. Isn't he cool? Don't know what the hell. You know, until I held that guy's snake the other day, I had zero interest in snakes. Zero. I actually didn't think I like snakes because they don't have legs, and I like legs, and he really wants to go straight. He's very strong. He's a strong boy. You have to kind of manhandle him. That's what I was told. Okay, we're gonna end this now because I don't want him crawling off me, and I have my cats, and I do have to keep him away from the cats at all costs. And when he's not, I'll have to come back and talk about this. Oh, where is he? Where's his head? Anyway, I'm hoping he comes back around. Like I said, you kind of have to man up. You have to be careful because you can break their ribs if you're too tough with them. Okay. Come on, baby. Now he's under my arm. This is fun, isn't it? It's like, oh, let's see Diane act. Okay, you're not going down. Can Diane control this giant snake? News at 11. What was I going to say? Oh. When I am not in the room that has the birds and the aviary where the snake lives, I'm going to be keeping the door closed at all costs, because if he did ever escape, even though he wouldn't be able to eat a cat, oh, he just plopped. That's what they call it when they just let loose. He could kill a cat, and it's okay. I don't want him to kill a cat. I don't want him to kill anything in my house, as a matter of fact. So, yes. That's the other reason I changed the cages for the iguanas, because the cage that Gizmo's in now, there's no way this guy can open. Look, he's coming to the side. Creepy. There's no way he can open that cage that Gizmo's in, whereas the cage before, you know, he might have been able to get to him. So, okay, that's the end of my intro with Synjen here. We're going to put him back now. So he's 5 days. I don't, you know, when I decide to get a snake, I don't mess around. I get a snake. None of those little tiny things for me. No, I jump in the deep end, both feet, right into the deep end of the pool. If you've been watching, oh my goodness, he's so fun. Thank you. Say goodbye.